welcome in, come in big time. We want you to in. This is a place of unity, safety, and them who are seeking attainment to require more of that which is gone into the etherical minds, if I could say, of consciousness, that through the digression, if I may use that word, it may not be so fitting, but through the splintering of the deep dive into flesh, which would be the fall, right? We got splintered, or we got fractured into fractals. And those fractals are fractals of light. And that goes back to even, I'm going right in. This is not the off the cuff. This is the recap of the claras. As we just finished the clara, the last clara was the day before last on the 24th. This is for the 26th, the 25th. As you know, I do a 2-1-2. So it means 2 days on, 1 day off, 2 days on, 1 day off. That's kind of that's what I keep my pattern for my videos. And yeah, so you guys are definitely, probably those who are always here may have figured that one out already, but yes, I appreciate all of you. As though it's almost, there's this old saying that we're a drop of water from the ocean. Are we the whole ocean within a drop of water? And that's kind of why I'm saying that is the fractal. The all is in that fractal part of yourself. That's why you're kind of putting yourself back together, the fullness of consciousness, which even rises above the 3D reality, even the physical, right? And very interesting. I was talking to somebody, a good friend of mine, about how manifesting and birthing, or manifesting, is really an eternal start, internal, to bring something out to the physical on certain areas and realms, and it can be blocked by different aspects of doubt, guilt, fear, which all would be connected in not knowing who we are. We go through this, and the more we become equipped and awakened and have experiences and attain them, because a lot of this higher consciousness is, we can say all day, I believe all things, I know things, certain aspects we can say, I know we're all one. The experience of a unity consciousness is more than just saying we're all one. And so what happens is the experience start dictating our knowledge. So a lot of times, until you have those, you may not fully understand the experiences, because it's a process of, and you may think, I got a focus of this one thing I'm doing and this is everything, but then through that process you'll find out that's very, very small part of it. And there's a lot more to unleash of your full self. But a lot of the lacking of that is also connected to, do you know who you are and why you are, and being authentic with yourself, or in even holding back, because even in this, you don't have to be perfect to manifest, meaning I have to do this right, I have to do this right. Sometimes it's being yourself, if it's authentic, is a stream that can open up the manifestation. If you're trying to manifest a job, a business, money, we definitely know that currency is a current. The currency is really your frequency and vibration, but anything connected to the frequency and vibration of currency can draw that currency in, and you can manifest it. You can manifest a whole different aspect of yourself, but blocks can be there. And usually the blocks are connected to not knowing who we are. But think about it. If you don't know who you are, then how do you know what to do? If you don't know who you are and you're kind of lost in who you are, maybe you won't know how to do something, because you don't know how the principles of who you are, within who you are is the manual, if I may use that word, of waking up and using different aspects. So what I did was, after we had our talk, I went and watched The Blocks of Manifesting by The Alchemist, and I was like, wow, blown away from it. Actually brought me to some, personally brought me little tears of joy, and also even some correction for me on some of the ways I deal with myself and approach myself, and almost being hard, like I need to ba 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 ba, even though I know better than being under that. Sometimes we try to do things, and just the acceptance that of ourselves, give yourself just a little bit of grace. Some things can totally hijack that, but it'd be a good video. I think I'll get into. I'll share a video about that, the manifesting aspect of self. But anyways, the alchemical journey, it continues as everything comes from alchemy. Everything's connected to alchemy. Even the creation of this physical world from the unseen, which created the seen came from it, and a lot of the unseen, because I've even seen manifestations in the higher realms that you won't see in the 3D realm, or you won't see it because it's being manifested in a higher realm that you're participating in when you participate in it. It's just another level of seeing, experiencing, and knowing through the experience that you have. So, but this is a little bit of tidbit to throw out. We're going to do some good things. I am going to, after this, we're going to recap. This is a clara recap of the 9 claras we just covered. But one thing I'm going to go in after this, I'm going into the tellies. We're going to talk about telepathy, because this is all connected to ESP, what they used to call. We don't hear it so much as I used to hear it as a child in the 60s and 70s. They make movies about ESP and demonize it as spookism, but it's just extrasensory, because perception, because somebody's either brought it with them or really tapped in this life to expand themselves to see they got more than just a 3D physical memory, and those being cognizant on a 3D level, that there's an awakening and activation of being cognizant even in a higher level, which can even kick off or be used in the 3D level to help yourself, help somebody else, get an answer, make a move, just direction, GPS. The knowers turned on. It's all connected to us. It's really for this age. Many of you, as we touched on the claras, have experienced it. One of my just even hit me up today how they experienced a lot of the claras, and they had shared a little video with me and showed me. And then even in the video, they said, "Thanks for the claras who allowed me to do this and this." And they were just sharing some of the things they had did was connected to the claras and their experience. And I mean, it's there. Many of us had it. I think I shared in a personal video that how I walked from one place and went from one place. I walked and had an experience with a friend in a room in 1993, which really changed my life. We had a very extraordinary paranormal experience that forever changed me that day. I know not everybody gets that, and I get that. And I have to even restrain myself to think about it on certain aspects of my experience is not like other people's experience, which is more processing through this. Because when that comes, when I really start looking back at it, even though I stayed in a certain realm after that of more esoteric Christianity, allegorical Christianity and stuff, it was not, I started having these activations of that during that 1990 through, clairvoyance, intuition, clairaudience. I've shared that, a lot of those clairs I'm activated in, just a few of them I'm not. Clairsentience, empathy, those things got really activated for me personally back then. And I participated in it for 30 something years. And I got really acute at really, if that's a good word for that, acuteness. I think it would be, but I could be wrong. You can correct me. You can see my weaknesses when I say stuff that may not match like that. We're not perfect. I had a conversation when somebody said, we're not perfect, but we're a better version of ourselves. If you're looking for perfection in a 3D reality, you're not. Anytime you can ascend or transcend the 3D reality of samsara and always having guilt and always repeating the loop of life after life and karma, you've already transcended the 3D reality because you've opened up to go through the 4th and the 5th. So those are the type of things there are. So you have these experiences, and not everybody does, and I get that, but a lot of people have, and even might be even different than mine. I think I have a video in the past where I went what happened to me in that spring day in 1992 or 93, where I definitely had a clear audience that day, where I was spoken to twice by my higher self telling me to turn the car and go to a certain brother's house. And the first I ignored, the second didn't come with a go over there. It came with a very, very stern, a very stern, higher self was very stern with me that day and didn't say, first said, yeah, go over Anthony's house. I ignored it, drove another block, getting ready to just go home, go where I was intending to. And then it came back at me, go to Anthony's house, very stern, almost father-like, to get your tail over there. I ain't playing with you. You need to go over there. And I whipped it around and followed that one. And if I remember since then, it was just a beautiful change. But anyways, let's do what we're going to do. And those are examples. These lead to clairs. This stuff is available to anybody. It's an activity, an activation to turn it on. And like I said, I've talked to people and I've heard conversations of people who don't have as much knowledge as a lot of you that are here and that are kind of sold out to being here. You guys have a lot more knowledge of why, where some people have got some gifts going on, but they have no knowledge because they could be still in a religious setting that would judge them for it, because come on, those who know here know what religion really is. But sometimes we go through it for processing because there's something in it we need to get us to the next level. I can say that for myself. When I was 19 years old, I was a freaking hooligan. I had did a lot of stuff. I had did a lot of drugs. Was using drugs, just, selling drugs, definitely doing the streets. Went to church, life changed. Went to church, life changed me completely, where I didn't embark on that stuff at 19 years old. I was out of that scene before I could legally even go to a bar, actually, in California, because 21, I know some states are 18. So I never entered a bar, ever, because I wasn't legally couldn't, and I was done with the lifestyle by 19. I went to, church, went to a very Pentecostal, very hardcore Pentecostal, know your Bible debate and all that stuff, and got indoctrinated in that way. But then but also I started having revelations as I was reading them that went with their doctrine and teaching to them. But then after the experience, it went up notches, and they gave me a choice 8 years later, because I already started seeing this does not fit me, because this stops there. What you're saying is now I'm seeing the indoctrination and the lack of growth for more than I left the 8 year. This is the 8, the magic number, right? But the reality is I've already started going through the process of things, seeing things were not what they seem to be there, saying one thing, but what I see production of the fruit of the tree was not really that. And I knew there was more to the fact before the change in experience, I actually prayed and said, if this is all there is to you, God, you're actually pretty weak and you're pretty shallow. As I'm tearing and crying, and it wasn't more than 6 weeks later, I had this experience that changed me completely. Not trying to glorify me, just telling my experience. You all have experiences. Most of our experiences come from pain, trials, pain that wake us up. There's something about the pain that wakes us up at times. All of you guys would probably go, yeah, we've had the pains, because life brings you pains and pleasures. But there's certain pains that really wake you up. The waking I see as an intuition now, and I'm not going, this is not off the cuff because I can go there, but let's do this. We're going to go into the recap of the claras, so I'm going to share a screen before Danny keeps going in. We're going in on the claras today. I know up here some stuff, so I'm going to move this that you guys don't see. That should work for me. And we're going to talk a little bit about this right here. Yeah. So I use the word extra sensory. It's called extra sensory. So when I see extra, it's really not the X outside. It's more. This is talking about extra. There's more. You're not getting 2 cupcakes, you're getting 4. So really the perception, or the sensory perception, is more than they would say a normal person, a regular person has. And this word was really used in the 60s and 70s really a lot, maybe a little in the 80s. I don't hear it as much, but this word was part of it when you look at all the claras, they're extra sensory perceptions. So your perceptions increase past just the basic 3D conscious based perception that you may not use because of your programming, even in that level, or even you can get blocked from having common sense, which sense is a perception, right? A sensory. Sense means sensory. It's a sense. And have your common sense blocked. I've called it in former videos. What did we talk about? We talked about paradigm blindness, cognitive dissonance comes from this. You're not open to any information besides your belief systems, and then you won't open up to it, and you just kind of believe anything. You think cockroaches are dolphins. I mean, somebody can come up with that. You think that you can pick what you are in the winter you're a boy, in the summer you're a girl. I mean, you can have all kinds of belief systems that are not based on a foundation of, because some things are just factual, right? Some things are just facts. You can't. It can be raised in an understanding, but there's some things are just facts. And limited beliefs, because this would be tied into cognitive dissonance, and those things, and paradigm blindness are all based on limited belief systems. Limited, notice limited, not extra, not an extra sensory perception, but actually a limited lack of sensory perception because of paradigm blindness and cognitive dissonance. That means that your cognitive just can't go past your belief system. It's all over the place. That's why there's programming to get you stuck. And the only place we get stuck is in matter. So when it says, does all lives matter? Yes, all lives are in matter. Yes. And where can you get stuck in? Matter. And usually the stuck in matter can even be stuck in your thinking or your thoughts or your mindsets, right? You can think you're always, I've talked to people working in mental health, doing counseling, coaching football, coaching sports, just all the way from adults to children. Your belief or your mindset is something you have power over, but once you get in cognitive dissonance, now you're talking about deeply embedded in deep matter that is got you stuck. So extra perception, when you start working towards getting unstuck, you start having the alchemical ascension process working in you. It can activate your sensory perceptions from a higher level. Don't be scared. Exercise them. Just like the more you exercise them, the more you get familiar with them and you start understanding, because the claras mean clear. The word clara doesn't mean the woman Clara, it means clear. It's a French word that means clear. It means clear cognizance. There's nothing blocking you. You see it to the tilt. Whatever aspect of the 9 you use or multiples you use, you're not limited. You may use all 9 of them, as far as I know. A lot. I can only speak to my experiences on the ones I do use and some I don't. Not saying that there's 3 of them that were new, and when I looked at them, I think one definitely rang with me, which was the empathy, which I see really close to sentience. But this. So let's read a little bit about this, about ESP, also known as the sixth sense, or cryptathesia. And I may be saying that wrong. I wish you gave me a little spelling on that word, or a little, is claimed paranormal. They put the word paranormal on it, meaning too normal. Para is like a pair, right? Comes from the pair. Para events and supported phenomenon described in popular culture. When I read that, it just kind of goes into this extrasensory perception as in paranormal beliefs. I don't see it as beliefs. When you operate this, you're a knower. So that's from them who don't know, who write this out. And that's what you need to see and to be able to decode. You got people writing this out. The motherfuckers don't. I don't cuss here. They don't know. They don't know what they're talking about because they never experienced it. They're just writing it. Maybe their master kicked them with the bricks and said, write it. I'm just being honest. Kidding, but you know what I mean. There's some honesty into that, especially when you're in Wikipedia and you're on these things that we're being fed, that we're not creating knowingly, but we may have created unknowingly by the hijacking, right? But anyways, the paranormal stuff. For them, they call it paranormal. For me, using this is not it. To me, it's the real normal, the real reality from that with experience. Me not to have intuition and not to have clairvoyance, not to have that. That's not normal to me. That's that's lack for me. Once you experience these, then you start understanding there's more. When you get unleashed to more, you know there's more abundance, and don't limit it into a 3D reality is what I'm saying, because 3D reality is a very, very low frequency that causes spiritual amnesia and forgetfulness, where you are like, where am I at? What's going on here? Who am I? Who am I? Who am I? And what am I doing here? Because we start looking for who are we and what our purpose is. And then when we're giving these things like race, religion, sex, all these things that you now, as they say you are, then you adopt them and they become your belief system. Just like I don't believe we're human, just human. Human's a physical body that they call it, but we're more than human because we're more than physical. We came from non-physical to physical. We came from the unseen, which is more of a reality than the seen, because the seen can have a lot of illusions, temporal states, a fate that really aren't. So unleashing these, you can help others, you can help yourself, you just have these abilities. And that's why I said take the cape off the capabilities and now have the abilities activated. You don't need to tug on Superman cape, and you don't need to spit in the wind, or you don't have to pull the mask off the Lone Ranger just to do it. You have the abilities. You're that which you're seeking for. To find the path, you have to become the path. To find the path, listen. You have to become the path to find the path. One more time. To find the path, you have to become the path. So, paranormal ability pertaining to perception, information not gained through recognized physical senses. So it's really attributing this to not being the physical senses. And I would say, yes, it's from a higher realm of self, is these senses are activated. I mean, if we got 360 degrees, who's to tell me we don't have 360 senses in higher realms? Because your consciousness expands. It does not limit it. Your purpose here, really, one of your main purpose, if I could put a blanket over purpose, find out who you are and do your purpose. And one of it is to get out of samsara and quit not making choices in your lifetimes of whether you come or not, and you just get off the samsara karmic wheel of repeat, rinse and repeat, rinse and repeat, rinse and repeat. So you have the power, free will, to what? Make the choice if there's a purpose in you coming back, or if you want another experience by saying, I'm going to another realm. I'm done with this, homie. I don't need this anymore. But there could be a purpose that and then somebody said, now I'm making the choice. It's my purpose. I've worked this out in the council of the consort to say, I'm coming back because I need to help people. What's your purpose? I need to help people. I didn't get this stuff not to help people. This is stay alone and not help people. But the people that I would help in would be those who are awakening to which is, like I said earlier, awakening is initiation in this realm. If you're getting awakened, it's just the beginning of the initiation. It's just the beginning. There's a time for manifestation. Manifests to 3D physically. But what about when you don't need to manifest because you are, which is higher realms, because you just become it. Quit looking for the path, become the path to find it. That would fit there. But am I saying anything right now? You need to, manifesting is a skill and an art. And there's blocks that you can do, and then there's reality you can do through your abundance, through your preparation, and through just being authentic. I just was looking at being authentic, who you really are. Sometimes when we look at guilt, judgment, or comparing certain things to somebody else, you can find judgment and say, why aren't I like him? Or why didn't I manifest like him? Or why aren't I spiritual as him or her? That is a process for you that differs. Not all of us, that's the differentiation of unit consciousness. but we're still unity consciousness. We just may differate. That's the difference between the hive mind. In a former video, I talked about the hive mind, where everybody just a copycat, carbon copy. You ever went in those housing tract homes and see all houses look the same? It's not that. That's a hive mind. It's not very creative in those tract homes because they all look the same. They're all 2-story. They all may have different colors, but they all look the same. You see that all over in those type of homes. That's the comparative. I even call it hive mind spiritual communism. It is. But anyways, let's go down a little farther. So this is something that is given to you. This is a purpose for you. The claras ESP, it is your inalienable right to activate it, not to run from it. And as you go through stuff, there may be things you don't understand now. Then you come in and you go, oh, okay, I thought it was all this, and that's all my purpose. But then when I took it another, I seen what you're saying in the higher realm. And yes, and the purpose, maybe you need to go through this to get to this to see it. And I could tell you all day this is what it is, but till you kind of see it for yourself in this realm, because I'm talking from, I'm maybe talking 5th and 6th, 7th density, not the 3rd, 4th, or 5th, because the 4th is that's even another story what it is going on in the 4th density comparative to what we create in the 3rd density is thoughts that become reality in the 4th. That's why you have to transcend the 4th and not get stuck. That's why it's so important not to worship things outside of you. They'll get you stuck. Where? In density. They'll get you stuck in the matter. But anyways, so we see this not gained through senses, but sensed with the mind. And I agree with that, but I think it's more, I know it's also a little bit more than that, or a lot more than that. It's deeper than just the mind. It's an activated higher sense of a Christ-minded, not just the mind. It's above a 3D reality. Of course, you wouldn't be using these abilities. So what they do is in these colleges, and as I did in some videos I shared, they did studies and watching people do certain things. And like I said, I'm going to go, after this, we're going to do a series on telepathy, telekinesis, and teleportation. That's coming next. That will be your next. And I may do them all at once instead of breaking them up. Actually, it should be. So, denote psychic abilities such as intuition, telepathy, psychometry, clairvoyance, clairaudience, clairsentience, empathy, and their transporal operation is precognitive or retrocognitive, meaning they're stepping out of time, and the past is the future when you go retro, because time is not linear in the higher realms. As we saw, you go to the higher realms, all your lifetimes you lived are playing out right now at one time, because it's always now, it's no past and future. But because of our experience in time in 3D, which is slowed down, if you went to a higher realm and you were operating in your consciousness was in that higher realm, but then you function in 3D, you might be looking and say, God darn, everything's slow. I shared an experience I had a number of years ago in the state of Washington. This happened to me on this one day. I went deep into meditation and came out of it with frequency and vibration playing, and guess what happened? Was for about 3 days, I was driving on the freeway 75 miles an hour, and I'm like, this feels like 20 miles an hour. What's going on here? I knew I went to another realm at that time. I don't know as well as I know this time to explain it there, but I knew there. I went to another realm. I'm in another realm because everything's slowing down. And then I went to go visit this person I know, this friend of mine, who was part of what we were doing because I was in a, I had mentioned I was in a ministry in Washington that was actually a Christian-based exoterrorism, and went to the exoterrorism and seen one of the guys who was having surgery. And when I went through the process of seeing people and getting something to eat at lunch there, because I stayed with him, talked with him and his wife for a few times, when I went through these states there, I was just really seeing the slowness of the vibration. And my reading stuff from other people had hands like this, where I was reading people's thoughts and thinking people's thoughts and seeing what they went through, but not in a way as like, ooh, got you, you're bad. It was more like, the empathy and the sentience was along with it to feel for them and feel their pain and feel their struggles and feel what they're going through. And it lasted 3 days in that realm. So that would be the higher realm experience I had was that 3 days. Somebody else had it for maybe a half a day that was with me and actually experienced it too, and they experienced it. But I definitely had it for roughly 3 days. Let me go. Second side, it's alleged with extra perception whereby person perceives information in the form of vision, future events before they happen, precognition, or about things or events in remote locations, remote viewing, once or twice for me. There's no evidence the second sight exists. I don't need your evidence. It's your college. When you experience it, it's an intuition, which is not proved physically. Are known only from antecedents. Second sight are classified as, yeah, they can classify it all they want. They're rum-dum. This is when you only operate from 3D reality and only use half your brain. And I'm telling you, there's a lot of programming coming in from these institutions, just to be real. They're programming institutions now. I mean, a lot of the stuff we see now that's being spouted by the young people is a bunch of, just makes you go, what? When you see what's going on with the dysphoria of gender, that's coming from universities. Yep. That's a move. That's definitely a move. And if you get it, you know what I'm talking about. Let's go into the definitions. I want to get out of here. Not much more use for them in that it doesn't appear. A person who claims to have supernatural ability claims, if you experience, ability to perceive events in the future beyond normal sensory contact. Exhibiting our ability to perceive events in the future beyond normal sensory contact. It could be an event for a person that's not mainstream, so how would anybody know? Because you don't know who Joey Jack is. But Joey Jack knew what you told him was you hit it in the park, and they know they didn't tell you, and that you had the experience that benefited them in their life. So let's go here. We did Wikipedia. I want to get rid of Wikipedia. Yeah, I got tired of you real quick. The power of faculty or hearing something not present. We went over these. I'm not going to go over all of them. I'm just telling you how everything is enhanced. You got different senses enhanced from a higher realm of yourself, your future self, which is higher self. Your higher self activation of the gifts. And if you want to call them, they are in you, just needed to be turned the switch on or activate them, they are. You can even ask for them. You can even be it made known. If you're operating it and you're feeling this, you need to not ask to be taken away. That I mentioned, I know people who are doing this from lack of knowledge. They have no knowledge, but they may have brought them from other lives or whatever. They just don't. They don't have they are asking to be taken away and not wanting to feel it because they're still coming from a fear-based belief system and they don't know their experience by knowledge. Knowledge is something you need to know about what this stuff is if you're having it. It's not something to run away or get rid of. If you're getting rid of it, you know, for me, you're going to get that look like that is like, definitely you don't know because it was given to you for a purpose. And religion will dance. The waking me up, man, it will definitely take you out of old friendships. And you say, well, why? Sometimes we grow past stuff. And I know when you grow past it, a lot of times you won't participate with it anymore. My observation of people, friends, is more 99.9% of the people are not really your friends that you're calling friends. This is be real. They're more connected as people who you know, and they're though the ones who are friends are very, very special friends in a certain place, in a certain frequency, in a certain vibration that are going to stay in that and be real with it and grow from it, and you just will know that you know. And that's kind of like a video you have to look at is what's the difference between a friend, what's the difference between a soulmate, what's the difference between a twin flame. And what's a karmic relationship? A karmic relationship may not be fun for you. It may piss you off, but there was something you needed to get out of the short karmic relationship that they did to piss you off that really was teaching you something about you to learn a lesson. When you can learn the lesson from the bad, that's really growth, because you can there's a wisdom and knowledge you get from that. So a lot of it is just, what's the word? I said it twice yesterday. It's more a relationship that's not really based on friendship. It's more you just kind of know them well, but it's more, there's a word and I can't think of it offhand right now, but come to me, Danny. But anyways, so the hearing something present in the ear but regarded as having an objective reality, yeah, I've had this, like I've said, many people have had different ones. There's 9 of them now. Claircognizance, psychability, where individuals possess an interesting gift of knowing. Definitely something that I bet you a lot of you have had and experienced. Um, Let me see here. This wisdom, clairsenses. Oh, there's some good ones. Other ones here too. Okay, like the clairaudience here, claircognizant. You're gonna see, and this is mostly claircognizant because that's what we put in. But let's see what this is. Let's see. Are you claircognizant? This will tell you how you know the signs. Oh, here it is. Many of you waking up, these things are going to be definitely are knower to them, right? You're going to be well known. It's a TikTok, so it probably won't know you. I'm going to turn this off. Stay out late until the sun sets past 8 and the cotton candy haze. Anyways, so they're there, and it was a good series. Open up. Have you had these experiences? Is this something that you've had? If it's something you're having and didn't understand it, watch the videos of our series we just had on it. It is great to have. This means you're activating yourself in higher realms, which all of us have the ability to have certain aspects of this. Another thing I'm going to debunk. You'll meet people who disbelieve and don't believe you if you're around them. And this is brought up. That's why you don't share I'm telling you what, you don't give initiated knowledge to the uninitiated. It took me a while to see that. When you get out of the mindset that you're trying to save everybody, because it's not my responsibility, but my responsibility is to help them that want help. That's a responsibility. That's one of my that's purpose for me, to help them grow and go to the next level of this. Is going to spurn them to their growth. We want to change things. This 3D crapshoot, especially what's going on now and the agendas being pushed, is the Book of Revelation's a playbook right now by them who want to. We give them the names. They're elite. I want to use Edward Casey's name for them, the Children of Baal. It's very fitting to me, and that I think I like Edward Casey. And that's another one I want to do a series on too. But you guys have a great day. I know I chatted a lot here, but it was a very powerful to me, very, very powerful. Let me stop the share. A very powerful 4-part 9 Clara system. And like I said, I knew 6 when I did it the first time, because if you go back a few years ago, you're going to see I did the 6, but there's 3 added. And so we covered that. It's yours. It's just the activation and what you have in your sensory possession. A lot of people have this without knowledge. They have these going on and they second guess themselves and they take judgment from them who you shouldn't, because they have no knowledge of it, or they're going to judge you or have no belief. And back to what I was saying, like this, you have people saying, well, if you can do this, show me now. And it doesn't work that way, bud boy. Or when people say that, it's like, it's not going to work that way. It ain't a show for an unknower. You don't give your seed to, you don't give your seed to them who can't receive it. You can't throw your pearls to the swine. And the uninitiated, you can't give initiated information to the uninitiated, and then they're, do it on, no, ego, get back, Jack. It's just not happening. And you'll get people who will do that. And that's why I said a lot of people are not necessarily always your friends or acquaintances, and that's the word. There's, and maybe some are very high acquaintance, but if you change and take your game up and you change, you'll might even see them go push back. Because I, through my series of changes, I've seen a lot of separating and breaking off. It's almost like you graduated a grade, you go to the next level, and the ones that you graduated from don't go with you because they didn't graduate, and they are angry because you didn't stay back with them. I've seen this multiple times in my 20 to 30 years. I'm talking multiple times. Even in the exoteric Christianity, I've seen it. And then as I even went through my trip in Washington, establishing something, how that ended when I went to the next level. And then when I left Washington for good to come back here, California, how it was a break off because I went to the next level. And after that, I went to the next level, left totally exoteric Christianity, found Gnostic Christianity, love Gnosticism, love esotericism, which covers everything, alchemy, all this, exoteric alchemy, hermeticism, all have teachings that I'm learning to glean from and take and then synthesize them almost together. And then this is why we do this, because we're actually doing what's behind me. We're uncensoring that which has been censored from the people for a long time. There's not necessarily a mystery school for you to go to anymore. And if you do, or a shaman, and if you do find that, use it. But if not, then you can't. But the initiation, the beginning of your initiation is when you first woke up. When you first woke up and realized things aren't what they seem to be in this world, in different, many levels of how this works, even in the connectivity of self, the connectivity of everybody. Some people are not your soulmate. Some people are not, but there's a connectivity in differentiation of where you're at in Christ consciousness. But anyways, activate the claras. And if you got them, man, use them. Don't be scared of them. And share here if you got them and use them. Somebody already did. Powerful. Thank you, Patty. You said I could say and share your stuff here. I will. But you guys have a great day.